Živjo, Ivy here. Welcome back to my channel. Let's check out all the books that I've read in October as I'm setting up my bullet journal. Since it is, October, a little bit more horror and all of that, I decided to add a little bit of those books in here. And of course, I cannot read these books, like horror books, for an entire month. Impossible. Because at some point I will not feel good, and I don't want that to affect a certain book that I will read because I am no longer feeling it. And yes, that's why I like to mix things up and add some other type of books in it as well. And I also read a classic, which I haven't done this year, nothing. So I read one, and that is the reason because a movie is coming out. So kind of you get the idea of which book that could be. So yeah, all in total 4 books. That is my max. And also, since I read the classic book, I'm not used the way it's written. I mean, more used to books that are written right now. So I really had a hard time getting with it. It took a long time for me to finish. And it's a short book. Some people will be done in like 2 days. To me, it was like almost like 10. We'll see. We'll see until we get there. I read 2 books and 2 ebooks. One was from the library and one that I'm owning. And I added one book that is pretty much like dedicated to Halloween. It's like short stories, but like I said, we will get there. But I would like to know what kind of books you read during October. Do you even add like horror or thriller books in it, or do you just still stick with your usual? Or maybe you are the type of a person that the only books you like or you like to read are horror or thriller books, mystery and all that. I really like mixing up because I realized when I read in August 3 books, thriller books back to back, I was starting not to feel so well. Like, I need to mix things up. I cannot do the same genre over and over again. But yes, do write down in the comments which books did you read this month. Any creepy ones, or do you just stick with your romance? Kind of a cozy romance. There are a lot of those books out there. I never got my hands on any of them. But I'm making certain plans of what type of books I want to read for next year. And of course, it's always going to be different genre of books because I like it that way. And one thing that I noticed, I do go more into older books than the new that are coming out, because I do not follow the hype for the books, because what I realized is if you hype something up and people have a high expectation, they end up being, I don't know, disappointed. And I just leave that for 6 months or even a year, and then I'll get back to it. And I realized that works pretty damn well for me. Alright, let us start with our first book, and that would be The Devil Crept In. This is the author that I did see a couple of times in Pinterest, and I wanted to try it out because people have mixed feelings about books. That's nothing new. So I wanted to go in with this myself, and this is horror paranormal thriller book. I did cry a little bit about this one, and well, let me tell you what it is about. So these people live in this really nice neighborhood, or a very small town, I guess. And we have a family that is not exactly good. We have a mom, a dad who is not these kids' real dad, he's the stepdad, older son and a younger son. Now the younger son can speak very well, he uses weird words, he stumbles a lot, and his cousin lives right across the street or something like that, and his aunt, which is the sister of his mom, and they hang out the most together, and they go into the woods. Now we get two type of stories here. That is about these two boys, or specifically Steve, and about a woman called Rosie, and what is going on in those woods, and specifically that house or cabin that's in the woods. Now I also realized that I added a picture here of a house or a cabin in the woods, and I turned it upside down. Great. Anyway, one day the other boy, his name is Jude, he vanishes, and for like a week nobody knows nothing. And Steve saw Jude one night. He was like lost, like he wasn't even there. They found him like in the middle of the night. They're really happy that they found the boy, but the boy says he doesn't remember what happened to him. Now there is supernatural in this. Like I said, it's a paranormal. There is something there. People just don't know it because they don't follow that the animals are actually being very strange. They keep being drawn towards the woods because there's something there. And when you get to the story of Rosie, it is so sad what this woman went through. She didn't deserve that. But yeah, I think the thing about the devil crept in is not the thing that lives inside the woods. I mean, it does, but it's what happened to Rosie to have this thing. That's all I'm going to say. I would like for you to go and read the book. What I don't like is kind of the ending, because it made Steve look like he's the villain and he's not okay in his head. And there was this, I don't know, was she a journalist or something? Or there's a girl that's very much into it to find out what is going on, if there's any like phenomenon or something going on paranormal. And Steve has been telling his story, and she wants to go and check it out, this cabin in the woods. Someone bought it and wants to make a home out of it. And she said like, no, like she didn't see anything, everything's like fine. I guess Steve is making up these stories as he's been diagnosed with something, which I'm not going to tell you. But the animals are still acting strange, and nobody's paying attention to it. The book is not bad, it's just the thing that made me cry is, I guess, it's the parents' love towards their child and all of that. I think that's what made me cry. Funny that I don't remember it. But I give this book 3.5 stars. It was still good. I just think that the ending, I do not like the ending, because Steve gave so much of himself to save Jude, and things just turned around different. That's all I'm going to say. It was still good, but I guess you have to read it yourself to see how you would feel about this book. And the second book is, I'm continuing the series of serial killers fall in love. So this is the second book. This is Leather and Lark. And I like this one a lot more than the first one, and I will tell you why. So this is, of course, dark romance, horror, thriller. Well, it's not so much horror, but there's some horrifying things happening there. So these two met not in a good way, and they didn't like each other. So 1 year has passed and they met again, and they feel this chemistry, you know, they feel the pull until they realize who is this person, and then they remember what happened 1 year ago, and they just straight out hated each other. Now, with Lark's family, they have this, well, they're not exactly, or are they, like a mafia family, but it's kind of funny because they don't sell like drugs, guns, or anything like that. They sell muffins. And their business is going down, and somebody is killing their business. They're losing money and all that. And they think that the brothers, like, God, I don't even know if I'm going to say his name right. Lachlan? Is that how you say name? And his brothers, like, they think that they have something to do with it, with their business. And so for Lark to save Lachlan and his brothers, and because her best friend Sloane from the previous book just got married to one of those boys, and they're all in danger. So she came to Lachlan and told him, you know what, the only way we can do this is if we get married. So this is, how do you call it, forced proximity, I think, or marriage of convenience. I think those are like the tropes, and enemies to lovers. And they went with it to like save their families and figure out who is behind killing her family's business. And she's no innocent girl. Jesus, she loves glitter and all of that, but wow, she is quite a serial killer. That's all I'm going to say. Not much like Lachlan. He is working for a guy doing the dirty work and all of that, because this guy helped him and his brother for things that happened when they were younger, and to escape because their families, you know, and for them to have a new life. He kind of helped them. But this guy that Lachlan works for, he is crazy, just crazy. And even if he doesn't want to work for him anymore, like he wants to retire, not easy. There are things that needs to be done, and the only thing he can retire from this guy is with the help of Lark. Now these two have, what I love actually, what I like about this is their, it's a slow burn actually. Sex doesn't happen immediately, and I love that. It goes slow, but when it happens, it's good. So they found this guy that was off her family business and all of that, but she gets in trouble, and it kind of reminded me, if you watch the movie Saw, I don't know which movie it was, I think it was 5, or was it 4, when a woman got trapped like in an oven, like got burnt. That's what almost happened to Lark. Yeah, so she got saved and all that, and in the end, this is why I gave this book, this book is 4.5 stars. Why it's my favorite from the series so far, I haven't read the third one yet, is when everything was over, and since they were married to save their family and all of that, Lachlan came with divorce papers, and he wanted Lark to either, do we want this serious, do we want this marriage to continue, or do you want to end it, because this was forced, right? And she was kind of like mad, like she doesn't want it, like their chemistry is great, they have fun, they understand each other, and so she like ripped them, and they're married, they're for life, right? And then came the bonus. So when they were in their honeymoon, because they didn't have it, and she wanted Lachlan to pay. How dare you bring these divorce papers to me? So she wants him to pay for it. Where they did have sex on the bed with those ripped papers, but it was different than what you'd think. And it was shocking. I was not expecting it. And this is why I gave a 0.5 star. And I just love it. If you read the book, you know what I mean. Anyway, love the book. Love it. Alright, third book. Now, this is the classic, the movie that I said that it's copied out, and that is Frankenstein. Now, I remember Frankenstein and that famous scene, it's alive, but that does not happen at all. And also, in the movie is a character called Igor. He's not even there. So I kind of think, wait, these movies, but they're not with book. And now I'm really interested about the new movie, because I heard that it does follow a little bit more of the book, but not completely like the rest of the movies that exists with Frankenstein. So I'm reading Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, classic horror fiction gothic. I got it from my library, and like I said, it's a classic, and I'm not used to reading this. It's written a bit different, so it barely made it to 4 stars, like barely. But I did have like a little bit of a cry, not exactly a cry, but my eyes were like watering a little bit. And that was when you get to the story of this thing. But let me give you a little picture about this book. So you meet this guy called Walter, not Frankenstein, Walter, and he is a very young man who wants to go into adventure, wants to do something in his life. He wants something, right? And he is writing these letters to his sisters, like how he wants to accomplish things. He wants to find a friend where he can share this passion that he has. And he meets, I guess, a friend, a man, and he finds them half frozen, almost dead, when they were trapped in the ice. So he got himself a ship. They got, I guess, to Antarctica, and everything was frozen, and his ship got stuck. So they saw a guy, a huge man, in those, those slides where the dogs are like dragging you. And it was like, wow, that man is huge. And a couple of days later, they found another guy, and that was Frankenstein, and they got him up to the ship to warm him up because he was very close to that. And as Walter and Frankenstein got close, Frankenstein told them that he is looking for that thing that they saw, like that huge guy that was on the slides. And then who told him his story to Walter is because he saw Walter as himself, very young, very ambitious. He wants to discover things. And he said, let me tell you my story. I was like that, and what became out of it. And I have to say, it is fantastic. It is a great book. But what the hell, Frankenstein? First you pursue how to create a thing to bring it back to life. Do you know what he did when he came back to life? When he actually succeeded to bring this thing to life? He ran away. That thing was left behind, not knowing where it is. What am I? Why am I here? Doesn't know how to speak. It's like a baby that learns to walk and talk. And since that thing looks different, which doesn't even have a name, nobody wanted him. Everybody was scared because the way it looked. And then you learn the story of this thing, what he went through, and how he was not accepted. He was shunned away just for being different. And the only person who could accept him was a very blind man. But even that didn't go well, because when his family found him talking to their father, they attacked him. And he then started to feel these emotions, this anger, and he is going to find Frankenstein and make him pay for making him. And that's just one revenge after another. For like the Sting got his revenge on Frankenstein by taking his loved ones, and then Frankenstein starts to pursue the thing that he made to like kill him. It is just, I get the message about this book, but no offense, Frankenstein, you are a piece of shit in this book. Like, that thing didn't deserve what it went through. If you create something, you're supposed to then, build it up, teach it, or things, not just leave it behind just because he got scared and ran right out and left that thing behind. Like, what? And then you expected nothing bad to happen? Of course bad things started to happen. So yeah, I do like this. It's just, it was so hard for me to get to it, to finish this book. I read it for such a long time, more than a week, I think, or was it a week? 7 days. But yeah, it was still good book. Here we are to the final book, and this is Halloween. That's the title of the book. And these are short stories, everything about Halloween. Some have a little bit of connection in it, some just completely for themselves. There were some good ones, and some that, yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it's okay. The one thing is that always as usual. Books, I mean not books, but this surrounds a lot about women, like, you know, witches and women being sacrificed or women being used for something, for like to bring a certain witch, I guess, to life. And she had these 3 sons that I have no idea what the hell they are, except for one. The story that was good, it was about Scarecrow. That one was good. Also, it was good, but there are kids that like want to, you know, let's get courageous, let's go to this house that nobody wants to go, and that house is in the woods, and even was told not to go there. And you know, kids, one story, the kids survived because they got saved, but in another, yeah. So if you are not into like reading a book where kids get hurt, maybe don't read this. But like I said, there are some stories that were good and some that not so well. So this is a 3.5 stars. Short stories. Here we are. This is the end of all the books that I've read. This is how it looks. And of course, like I said, my favorite book is Leather and Lark, the winner of this month. And that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to my blabbering about books, and I hope to see you in my next video. Ciao, ciao!